Hi, welcome! If you're new here, I'm Mary and I hook books. I crochet and listen to audiobooks, and so far in April it has been kind of a busy month, so I thought I would do a quick update video. And I'm sorry that the audio is a little wonky. It is laundry day, so there's a bit of an echo and a lot of tile, but we're just gonna do the best that we can. So, big, amazing, exciting news. Someone actually used the Buy Me a Coffee link to donate to the crochet cause. And I didn't get permission to say your name. So if I have permission, please let me know, because I'd love to tell everyone how wonderful and amazing you are. And they used the Buy Me a Coffee link to donate and help me buy more yarn and make even more of a difference in people's lives. And since I started teaching full time, finances have gotten tighter and tighter, so every little bit helps. And I appreciate you and I love you so much. So thank you so much. And if you also want to contribute to the crochet positivity cause, you can also use the Buy Me a Coffee link down below to buy me a coffee or two or three. I didn't start a Patreon because I didn't know how frequently I would be making videos, but if that would be easier, let me know. I did Buy Me a Coffee because I've heard people who are more sporadic, it's a little bit easier to just donate once in a while. So if you have an opinion, or if, again, you would like to donate to the crochet positivity cause, please let me know in the comments. I'd really appreciate it because I am new to the YouTube space. So my first win of the month was Sweep in Peace by Ilona Andrews. And I vastly underestimated Ilona Andrews. I thought that she just wrote kind of spicy romance with werewolves or gods or something. And I gave Clean Sweep a chance, and I am really glad that I did. Sweep in Peace expands even more on the world building, and it is so cool. And I thought it was mostly romance, but really, there hasn't been any actual romance. There's been a little bit of interest in a potential romance, but it's mostly really cool alien and multiverse and fantasy and werewolves and vampires. So I am really enjoying this world building, and the characters are fun too. Especially the cook that she hires. Like, I love him so much. So this I gave 3.75, and I have reserved the third book in the series from the library. So this is called Sweep in Peace. So I made a little peace symbol, and I left a long tail in case I want to hang it. I think I might have to block it to get it to stay the way that I want it. But it was a quick little project because I've been working on so many other big projects lately. Like my trans pride flag blanket that I finished. I am so excited about this. I finished the trans pride flag that I'm going to donate to the Hope Center. I started actually several more projects for them, including my most elaborate and interpretive pride project. This is a blanket that I've actually made before, and it's very elaborate, but I do like generally how it turns out, and I will have some B-roll of how it has progressed so far. And I'm debating whether I want to maybe do another crochet along with me if I do this project again, because it is one of my favorite Afghan patterns. Or it's a blanket. If you do the whole thing, it's gigantic. And I will see if I've got some extra pictures to throw up to show you guys. Another project that I started that I'm a dork and I like to crochet while I exercise, so I have a stationary bike and I can crochet granny squares while I'm on my stationary bike. So I'm going to do these strips of flowers in different colors for another Pride inspired project, and just a simple corner to corner for when I don't feel like actually doing anything elaborate, but I'll next add the orange to that guy. So those are my big projects that I've been working on, along with some smaller ones. And of course, I've had a couple books that did not have crochet projects to go along with them. One of the books that I read that did not have a project to go with it was Love, Lucy, the autobiography by Lucille Ball. And I really enjoyed this. I grew up on I Love Lucy, and from what I had always heard, she had a pretty good reputation in Hollywood. She didn't publish it during her lifetime because she thought that she might hurt Desi, which I thought was very considerate, even though I didn't really think that anything in the book was particularly defaming or insulting to Desi. So it's narrated, the audiobook is narrated by her daughter, which was a really cool added touch. And I knew her mostly from the Lucy show. I didn't realize she had such a long career before that in movies. So that was really cool, and I gave that one a 4.5. Unfortunately, I did have a DNF by Nora McInerney, no happy endings. And I bought this, I guess, in early 2020, and at the time it probably looked really inspiring and cathartic, but I only got about 5% of the way in, and it was just a little bit too triggering for me. And not the trauma that she actually went through, but the support and the love and the friendship and the therapy that she got, that in my tragic history I didn't have. Very, very triggering. Put me in a very bad place that day, and I almost made some bad decisions, but instead I just filmed my wrap-up video for March. So I DNF'd, so for me that's basically 1 star. I think it could be really good, and I did really like the thesis that there is no ending. Everything is just a next chapter. But it just put me in a bad place, and I could not do it. So to try to get me out of that funk, I listened to The Very First Damn Thing by Jodi Taylor, and normally I love St. Mary's. They put me in such a good mood, and this is a prequel short story. And I think it would have been good if maybe it was expanded into a full novel, or if we only focused on the first part of it, because the bulk of the story is this first chunk about them getting their funding, and then getting the band together felt very rushed. So either we should have cut some of it and made it even shorter, or expanded it into a full book. It's also not narrated by Zara Ram, who does all the other books. It was actually narrated by Jodi Taylor, and I feel bad saying this because some authors, it's great to hear their own voice, but a lot of the time authors should write and narrators should narrate. It wasn't bad, but Zara Ram does such a good job. So the story wasn't quite up to snuff. The narration wasn't quite as good as I am used to. So it was kind of a disappointment. It was still okay, and I gave it a 2.75. I also listened to Rapture Season by Eric Micah Holmes, and this had all the elements that should have hooked me. It's got a cult. It's kind of like a dark academia almost. It's got a really interesting storytelling strategy. I didn't like it. I felt, again, like it was rushed. I feel like maybe if it were a full novel and more time and energy could be put into some of these concepts, it would have been better. And also, I did not like the mom. And I feel bad because I don't have to like a protagonist, but because it was so short, I didn't really have time to get over not really liking her. And this was a free one from Audible a long time ago that I added to my library, so it's not like I wasted any money on it. But it even had Canada. I love Canada and Mounties, but I just didn't like it. So, 2 stars. And when is a door not a door? When it's a jar. So that is a big part of Wastelands, or The Wastelands by Stephen King. Riddles actually are a big part of gunslinger training, and that particular riddle comes up multiple times throughout the book. And I have this morbid curiosity about the Dark Tower series. The first one I read, and I expected it to be so bad, and it wasn't. So I was like, oh, okay. Maybe because I went in with really super low expectations, and I listened to the audiobook, and Purple Prose I feel like is a little bit easier to get over if you're listening to it as opposed to looking at it. So I gave the next book a chance, and I think it's something about doors or gathering or something. And I really wasn't a big fan of that, but I liked it well enough. And again, I just have this morbid curiosity about the Dark Tower series because it's so divisive. So I read the third one, and I think this is the best in the series so far. It is way too long, but the writing got better. I'm starting to enjoy the characters a little bit more, and I normally get very cringy and turned off when people have multiple personalities, but this isn't really DID. This is, I think, multiple people from different dimensions stuck inside one body. So I feel like it's okay if anyone out there with DID feels, that's obviously not me, so it's fine. Or if you have other feelings, please let me know. Normally, I do get very upset about bad mental health rep in books because it can be just so damaging because representation does matter. But I'm really kind of starting to enjoy how the world is coming together, and I read an article about different books that are all in this series. I read Black House. That was the first Stephen King I think I'd ever read, and then the prequel to that, because I didn't know that Black House was the second in a series. And I didn't know that it was connected to the Dark Tower. So it's really cool to kind of see all of that coming together in this expanded universe. I will read the fourth book, but I don't know. It's a 3-star and it's the best one so far. I hope they continue to get better. Stephen King is he's kind of just readable, I guess. Even his stuff that I'm not a super fan of, I don't regret my time I spent reading it, generally. I'm currently about 87% of the way through Life in Our Universe, which was on my Audible wish list, and it is included through the end of the month with the Audible subscription, premium plus, whatever their thing is. So, again, it's free. I will give it a shot, and I really am liking it. There's a couple things that the visuals really do help. So my library has the video version of this through Hoopla. So about 3 of the lectures so far, I did find it really helpful to go to Hoopla and watch the video version. But for the most part, I think the audio version is just fine. There are some great courses where the visuals, you need them. And then there are others that you can really just sit back and listen to these great instructors lecture to you and give you these great ideas. So I'm in the middle of that right now. It's not amazing, and I'd like to see some updates. I don't remember what the publication date was, but it talks about 2016 as if it's in the future. So it's a little out of date, but a lot of it is it's still the prevalent thinking about how the moon formed, and Miller Urey will always be Miller Urey. So I'm enjoying it so far. I wouldn't tell anyone to rush out and listen to it, but it was free through Audible and my library, so I'm having a good time. I'm also about 60% of the way through Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister, and I thought I had 20 more weeks to wait on this one, so when Libby told me it was ready, I jumped on it, and I was sold this as a time loop, and it's a different kind of time travel, and it's not super sci-fi. The leading plot engine is the mystery. It's in the first chapter, something horrible happens, and she has to go back and try to figure out how they got there. And she just keeps getting these clues that she does not understand. So it's really cool so far. It's super popular, so of course I wasn't quite sure I would like it, but I'm enjoying it. And again, I thought it was a time loop, not so much, but I decided to get some more of that twinkle yarn, and oh, you cannot see the twinkle very well in this lighting, but I decided to make another infinity scarf out of this lattice Tunisian crochet stitch inspired by the time travel of Wrong Place, Wrong Time. So April has definitely had its ups and downs so far for me, and we're only a week in, so I think spring is probably going to be a bit of a wild ride. But I really do appreciate the wonderful people in my life who have been there for me and talked me through some things and donated to the crochet positivity cause. Thank you again so much. I appreciate you. And if you other viewers would like to donate, please go to the Buy Me a Coffee link in the description and throw whatever you can toward me, toward the Hope Center and these blankets that I'm making for them, and toward just general positivity and making the world a better, happier, more loving place through fiber arts and books. Oh, that sounded way deeper than this channel was meant to be. Anyway, I can never get my outros right, so thank you so much. Let me know if you've read any of these books. Let me know if you want me to make any other tutorials. My crochet tutorial is actually one of my best performing videos so far. So let me know how your reading month is going, and no matter what, just remember that you're gonna be okay. Just relax, open your chest, open your heart, keep your head up, and breathe.